Same house as the other video. Today I'm going to talk about matching texture on a wall that you've had to patch. And you may be thinking, well, how come you got so many holes? Well, this is a rental property, and unfortunately renters, they just don't give a, or you know what I'm talking about. They just don't care. So what I've done is patched all the holes. Some of them I had to patch in the same manner as the other video, larger holes. I think you can make that out. There was a pretty big hole there. Somebody wanted to beat up my wall, and so I patched it. But as you can see, this wall has a brushed texture. In fact, there's two different textures in here. This is a brush textured on this wall, and then the rest of the walls have a I don't know, push and pull texture, which we'll talk about on these other holes. So, but the first one I'm going to deal with is this brush texture, and the way you do this, and the reason you want to, is that you patch a hole like this, which you can see the outline of it, but you don't texture it. Then you got all this brush textured, and then you got a flat spot here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to texture over that, and I'm going to show you how I do it. Now I've got another hole right here, and I'll demonstrate on that one, and I also have another hole right there. The light's not the greatest on it, but there's a hole there. So what I do is I take regular drywall mud, or drywall compound, but we usually just call it mud, and I'm going to water it down. You want it kind of still thick, but you want it a little bit soupier than what you're going to get out of a can. And in this case, I'm using a 5-gallon can. It's the same principle if you buy the smaller 1-gallon can, if you don't need 5 gallons, but I got other projects I'll use this mud on later. So what I've done is I've added water to it. Looking back at that first patch I did, I probably could have made this a little bit thicker, but for this purposes, it's fine. So I've added water to it, and I've mixed it really well, made sure that the consistency is consistent, all the way through, and kind of see how it runs off the knife. It sticks, but it does want to run off, which normal drywall mud will just sit there on the knife. And this is a masonry brush. What it's used for is putting the texture on concrete sidewalks, and for smaller areas, and then also to clean brick after you've mortared brick. But in this case, I'm going to use it as almost like a paintbrush. I'm going to daub a bunch on there, and then I'm going to come back up here to my hole, and I'm going to try to match the the direction. Some of it's swirled, some of it's directional. So I'm just going to come up here, and I'm going to glob it on, and then just go like this. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it will be a lot less evident that you patched a hole there than if you hadn't done anything at all to it. So we'll just kind of give it a nice little curve. No straight lines, because hardly any of the other texturing has straight lines. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, I've already done that one, and my mud could have been a little bit thicker, because the thinner the mud, the more the thinner your coat, and also your lines will be thinner, whereas these are considerably thicker. But like I said, in this application, this is good enough. As you can see here, I've got a hole that somebody had patched very badly before they threw some mud in it or whatever, maybe vinyl spackle, and didn't even sand it. And it's not even worth trying to go back and cut through all the paint with the sandpaper and sand that down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and texture that as well. Gone. It's still there, but it's not as evident. So, and you know, this texture, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's designed to not draw your eye to any one detail on the wall. We're going to come over here. Hopefully I can get enough light on that. And we're going to go ahead and texture this hole up. I've already patched it. It's not perfect as far as the patching goes. I probably could have put another coat in it right here and smoothed it down even more, but with this texture, we'll just hit it. You know, and you can play with your pressures, the angle of your brush to get the desired pattern or effect that you want. But I think that's good enough. What that hole was actually from was a doorknob. So that's the quick and easy way to texture, to match a texture for patching walls. All right, thanks for watching.